Turnaround time down to hours.
We have liftoff. Stage separation.
30 seconds until catch decision.
Booster offshore diverge.
Tune in and watch the ship fly around planet Earth.
Relight demo startup.
314 there, hence why there's a piece of pie on this nozzle. Maybe we can get that image rotated so you can see it a little bit. It needs to look good. Still a little breezy, but that's okay for us.
Yeah, we set up our desk in a wind tunnel today. It's probably windier here than it is anywhere else, but weather's cooperating, really clear skies, no rain today, still well within our limits for booster launch or catch. Not tracking any issues on vehicle as we continue to count down. We're still loading prop on board. Our range team also reporting that the range looks like it will be clear at our current T0. So that's super important. We're going to keep an eye on that all the way up to the end.
As for what we've already done with the vehicle leading up to today, we stacked the vehicle over the weekend. We lifted the ship on top of the super heavy booster. Hours ago, we cleared the site of all personnel. And of course, our flight controllers came on console, some of them sitting in the building behind Dan and I. And as Dan mentioned, the range team was deployed. They are standing by in the Gulf to make sure that the booster has a clear to return back to here at the launch tower, but also they are located in the Indian Ocean.
Did tank purges, pressure checkouts, make sure we were ready for prop load, check the booster, quick disconnects, and the ship one. We demate the chopsticks. We actually do a little wiggle check on them, make sure we have control, as we're going to be using those for catch. Load up all of the hydraulics that are on the tower, and then we did the initial locks and methane chills, getting them ready for prop load.
Now, speaking of prop load, we conducted the go, no-go poll for prop load at 3:30, so a little bit less than an hour ago. All was good there. Prop load is underway. The LOX load on the booster started at T-minus 45 minutes, and fuel started at T-minus 43 minutes. Booster fuel will start at T-minus 41 minutes, and then LOX on the booster started at T-minus 35. So that will all wrap up at T-minus 3 minutes and 20 minutes on the ship side, and at T-minus 2 minutes and 50 seconds on the booster side. So everything is looking good. Propellant is loading.
Yeah, looks like we're about half full of everything on booster, 3/4 of the way there on ship, looking good for a launch today. With that, though, let's jump over. Let's check back in with Jesse real quick and all of our teams out at Hawthorne.
Thanks, Dan and Kate, and great to hear the updates with the vehicle as we prepare for liftoff. There is a lot more people here, as expected. Love it. All the Raptor engines are built here, so there's a lot of that team here in the crowd, so they have a strong connection to the Starship flight today. Every flight test gets us closer to a fully operational Starship, which gets us closer to our ultimate goal to make humanity a multiplanetary species. To establish cities on Mars, we're going to need high-cadence, low-cost flights for cargo and crew. As the only fully reusable rocket with this kind of capability, Starship is the only vehicle in development that will be able to unlock our multi-planet future. Starship uses a first-of-its-kind on-orbit propellant transfer to refuel in orbit in preparation for these long trips. With milestones like ship catch and in-orbit prop transfer coming up, 2025 promises to be huge for Starship and our journey to Mars, with our first trip currently planned for the end of 2026. Between the reusability, low cost, and heavy lift capabilities, this all comes together to help us deliver up to 100 people at a time to destinations both near and far, and to deliver payloads farther and at a lower cost than any other vehicle. We'll be able to launch more massive payloads than anything else flying or in development today, capable of sending things like giant space telescopes or the next generations of space stations into orbit on a single launch. So while today's flight is just a test, the future is much closer than we realize. But one flight test at a time. So let's head back to Dan and Kate for a closer look at Starship.
Thanks, Jesse. Starship features two major parts: the ship, which has 6 Raptor engines, and the Super Heavy booster, which has 33 Raptor engines. The Raptor engine is a reusable methane-oxygen staged combustion engine that powers the Starship system and has twice the thrust of the Falcon 9 Merlin engine. Now, just like we saw flights 1 through 6, the current iteration of Starship is an experimental vehicle flying for development. As we mentioned earlier, today's flight is debuting a ton of upgrades that we've had in the works in order to increase Starship's reliability and performance. Several of these upgrades will also unlock our ability to fly longer missions, something that we'll want to do as we start doing orbital flights around Earth.
And then to get an even better sense of just how big Starship is, we can start here. Let's take a person about 2 meters tall. Towering over that, you got your Millennium Falcon clocking in at 35. Just above that, we've got a Falcon 9 rocket, payload fairing attached. Double that height, you're up at 70 meters. And then topping it all off, nearly twice the size, it's a fully stacked Starship up to 123, got 2 meters taller. Altogether, the ship, 52 meters, Super Heavy boosters, 71. And what's super fun is we're going to make ship and booster even taller in the future.
Which is crazy, because turning around and looking at it and thinking that it's going to be bigger, that's mind-blowing.
Make the ship as tall as the booster.
Now, moving up the rocket, the ship features 6 Raptor engines. 3 optimized for sea level performance and 3 optimized for vacuum performance. Raptor Vacuum, or RVAC, is a similar design to the Raptor engine, but features a larger exhaust section and a larger expansion nozzle to maximize the engine's efficiency in space. Our upgraded ship that we're debuting today carries about 300 more tons of propellant than the last flight's ship, bumping it up from 1,200 metric tons to about 1,500 metric tons. It's a lot. The ship is designed for vertical takeoff and landing on any hard surface. Now, the ship is also outfitted with newly redesigned forward flaps that are used to aerodynamically control the vehicle's attitude during atmospheric flight and enable a precision landing. The new flaps are lighter and positioned more leeward or away from the heat shield.
Now, to reach full reusability, the ship has to be able to survive re-entry not just one time, but multiple times. The ship's heat shield is essentially what does the job for that. We've been iterating on that every single flight, building towards that heat shield that requires no refurbishment between flights. Now, the heat shield is composed of thousands of hexagonal ceramic tiles. They're designed to insulate the vehicle during that atmospheric entry where temperatures ramp up to as high as about 2,600 degrees Fahrenheit. A rapidly reusable heat shield has never been flown in history.
And in between the first and second stages is our hot stage, which we saw in actions on flights 2 through 6. The hot staging maneuver is when the upper stage engines are ignited before the booster engines before those booster engines are completely cut off. With hot staging, the rocket never stops accelerating during separation, so it's more efficient than traditional stage separation. One of the hallmarks of Starship flights are the incredible views that we get throughout flight, of course, courtesy of Starship. Every day, we're working to expand the Starlink network both on Earth and in space. Here's Jesse with more.
Fans of Starship may know that Starlink enables us to bring you lots of unprecedented views, both from space and here on Earth. In addition to the dozens of cameras on Starship itself, we also have mobile Starlink camera kits